Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, or welcome back. Today I'm filming a little Q&A video whilst you can watch me draw on Procreate. So I recently asked on Instagram, TikTok and here on YouTube to ask me some questions, and to be honest I didn't really think anyone would send any in, so thanks so much if you were one of those people who sent a question in. And yeah, I'm really excited to answer them today. So it's going to be all based around drawing on Procreate and like being an artist. And whilst I answer the questions, you can watch this process of me drawing Moana. As you can see, it was a process getting there. Like, I haven't really drawn that much lately, and I feel like my skills have gone down a little bit. But I think in the end she came together quite well. Let me know what you think. But anyway, let's just jump into the Let's just jump straight into the first question. So, what is your best advice for someone just beginning with an art business? I would focus on growing an audience first. You don't have to spend like a long time on this, but just until you've got like enough of a good audience that like what you do, so that when you open up a shop or offer a service or something, there's like people who might be actually interested. Also listen to what your audience wants from you. If you start getting comments of people asking for you to make prints of a certain art piece or something, maybe take that into consideration of that's something you should offer. I've done in the past like where I've just started making products without actually really knowing or thinking what people would actually want, and it's just kind of what I like, and then things never did that well because I wasn't really listening to what people wanted. I was just guessing and doing whatever I wanted to do, which didn't really work that well. And also you will go through a lot of ups and downs when starting an art business, and there's a lot of things that you would learn and will be learning along the way, and there's a lot of things that you'll test that won't work and you might need to change direction or shift things around. And just to know it's okay that you do that. Like, it's a learning process, and don't be hard on yourself if things don't go right at the start or that you feel like you failed. Just like learn from it and keep moving forward. Another thing is, don't compare yourself to others, and especially those that are like 5 years or 10 years ahead of you, because they're at a totally different like point in their journey. There's a lot of different factors that go into like how people are in their journey and like how they got there and stuff. Just know that your journey is different and you're at a totally different level, and that's fine. Another thing is to keep learning. There's never an end point. I feel like there's always room to keep learning, and there are so many different things to learn, and there's so many different things to try within the art world. I guess you've got all these different mediums. Even if you just choose drawing on Procreate as your medium, then there's just so many things to learn with Procreate. And then if you're drawing characters, there's just so many things to learn with character drawing, and drawing the hands, drawing hair, drawing clothes. Yeah, I just think it's really good to keep learning. Also, be consistent and don't give up. Even if you might have some like down moments where you feel like you want to change paths completely, you don't want to do this anymore. Even if you do have those times, try and stick with it still and let those moments pass, those phases. Don't give up, keep going. Like, I've gone through quite a lot of phases in my journey where I felt like I just didn't want to do it anymore. I felt like I wasn't good enough, all these things, but I never gave up and I've still kept at it, which I'm really proud of actually. So yeah, it's a really big thing because sometimes success can take a long time, and I just think you got to keep going. Don't give up, because you just never know what's around the corner. You never know what each day is going to bring. So yeah, and then they've also asked another little question within the question, which is great. I love all these questions, by the way. Thanks so much. What do you recommend for a successful YouTube channel? So I'll give some advice, but I'm not like successful or anything on YouTube, but I definitely have learned things. And again, being consistent is one of them. You want to keep the momentum going with people that want to subscribe to your channel. They want to keep seeing videos. Like, imagine if you subscribe to someone and you suddenly like really just love their content, and imagine how excited you get when they post a new video. You want to keep people on your channel feeling excited when you've posted something new as well. So you've got to try and keep consistent, and it doesn't mean that you have to post like all the time, like every single week or whatever. I post like maybe every 2 weeks now because I've got this full-time job. It's easier for me. So even if you posted like once a month, as long as you're consistent with that kind of once a month posting, people know when they're going to expect content from you. just don't go missing for like a few months and then not post anything, because people will forget about your channel and it'll probably stop getting like pushed out to people. So being consistent is definitely one thing that's good. Adding good keywords and titles to your video is really important, because keywords, first of all, it's like good for the SEO, which is search engine optimization. Add all the hashtags as well, because they also contribute to keywords. And the good titles as well. You want to make sure the titles also have keywords as well as your description and your hashtags. You want to repeat those keywords a few times so that it helps your video kind of get out there. And also the titles are just good because you want to grab people's attention with a good title. And then the last thing would be like, be true to who you are. Let your personality shine through, whether that is you're a quiet person or a loud person or a weird person. Like, doesn't matter like how you are, just let your personality come through and don't be scared on who you are. You know, you gotta just be true to yourself and try not to like put on a different personality. It's a hard journey, and it's definitely like as you get more confident on camera, your personality will just start naturally showing through without you having to try. It'll be easier for you. Okay, so moving on to next question, which was again a couple of questions within a question, so thank you so much. The first one is, aside from hands and feet, what part of the anatomy do you find the hardest to draw? So I was thinking about this a little bit. I wasn't even sure. It's probably going to have to be face angles. Like if the girl's looking up to the side, just like this Moana drawing actually. The face was a little bit hard for me to draw because it wasn't a simple front facing kind of face, I guess. So that's probably the hardest part. The next question was, what's an art medium you haven't tried yet that you'd like to get into? The first one would be Copic markers. Even though I have tried them a few times, I've never had a good set of Copic markers and I've never really dived into it to really try it, but that is something that I have always thought about. And also the other thing would probably be acrylic paint. That's one I definitely haven't tried, but I've seen those YouTube videos where, you know, they have the big canvas, they blob the paint on and then they kind of spread it around or tip the canvas and it goes into some really cool abstract art. And then what's your go-to doodle like when you're just mindlessly scribbling? I would say if it's just little tiny things, it'd be like stars, little lines, flowers, or faces. So next question is, do you use any other programs or apps apart from Procreate? I actually only use Procreate. I've never actually used any other drawing apps, but I've used Photoshop in the past, right at the very beginning, before I got the iPad, and that was quite hard, and I actually prefer the iPad because it feels like you're drawing like traditionally. I also had another question from Christina about giving some tips on learning to draw in general, and where or with which exercises would you start? I'm actually going to do a whole video based on this topic itself because I think there's a lot to talk about. I'm actually going to film that as my next video, but just a couple of tips I guess for now. Find classes online from artists that you like. Go on Skillshare. I have a couple of classes on Skillshare actually. I don't usually promote them, but I'll leave a link below if you want to check them out. They're a little bit old, but they might still help you about using Procreate and drawing characters. With some exercises you could start to help you start to draw is like going on Pinterest, finding some reference photos and then tracing over the top of them to get a feel for drawing a certain thing, and also just copying the picture as well. Like I've always done that in the past with Disney characters, and like back in the day I used to draw like Minnie Mouse, Daisy Duck, the Chipmunks. I'm trying to think of my old sketchbook here. But I used to just draw cartoon characters that I liked. I also draw Bart Simpson. But these characters, they had very bold outlines and they were very easy to like copy. And I think from back in the day when I used to do that a lot, I think it just helped train my eye on how to see a picture of something and then copy it with my eye, just because my brain was just getting used to doing that. I feel like that helped. But yeah, so I will go into a lot more depth with this and go through a lot of different things. So I hope that you're looking forward to seeing that video. Next question is, how long did it take you to get used to drawing digitally? I can't really remember like an exact moment, but maybe a month, because I think I was just learning a lot and I just found a process on Procreate that I like to use that got me started, which was a simple process on using the layers and placing the shadows and bringing a character together. And once I got that down, that kind of was my base to get me going. Do you use masking, and any tips on that? I'm not really that familiar with masking. I've never used it. I've just used clipping masks or alpha look. That's the only ones I feel like they're a little bit similar, but I'm not sure how similar they are. But unfortunately, yeah, sorry, I don't have any tips really on that because I've never used it. Next question is, what's your favourite brushes? I've actually done a whole video on my top favourite brushes on Procreate, which I'll link if you want to watch it. But my go-to one is the dry ink brush. You can actually get that in Procreate. You can find it in the inking folder. I really love the texture of it, and I could just create a whole drawing based with just that brush. A couple others that I do also really love are the 6B pencil and the soft airbrush. I love the soft airbrush for highlights and for adding blush onto cheeks. And the 6B pencil, sometimes I like using that just to colour in my drawings. I'll definitely link a couple more videos below if you want to dive into anything deeper, ones that I think might be useful or fun to watch after this one. I hope that you've enjoyed watching my process of my banner, and I hope to see you back here in another video soon.